Hello, everyone, and welcome to Horse Center this lovely Monday, the day before Valentine's Day. Friendly reminder for anyone who might have forgotten. So get in your last minute shopping, as we know Justin is doing right now. But I am Wild Jamie, and with me is the wonderful Swiss Army Sean. And our special guest tonight is someone who just has an amazing record, is winning at 24%, 56% in the money, absolutely killing it out west. And that is trainer Justin Evans. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you so much for being here. We know that you are a very busy man. We interrupted your Valentine's Day shopping, so let us apologize for that, but we're sure you got it handled there.
Yes, good. You broke me up from spending too much money. It was perfect. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. We got your back. So,
Yes,
Justin, you are a very young person to be so successful in the game already. And I read that you actually got your trainer's license at age 18. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't wait. I mean, it was one of those deals. I graduated high school, and my friends all went on a senior trip to Puerto Vallarta, and I went straight to the racetrack. Prescott Downs opening day was the next. I graduated on a Friday night from high school, and opening day at Prescott Downs was the next day, and I was there, and I turned 18 that summer, and I had to wait to get my trainer's license till I turned 18. And before that, we ran the horses in my mom's name. It was me and her, So my dad left. My mom and dad got divorced when I was 9, and so it was just me and her. So we ran horses in her name for most of those years, and then as soon as I turned 18, I got my license, and we hit the road.
Wow, that is really amazing and so inspirational. Kudos to your mom for bringing you up right around racehorses.
Any of those moms out there, single moms, my hat's off to them, because my mom worked her butt off to make sure that I had horses to run and tack that looked good. I mean, she was great. She was an angel, that's for sure.
Wonderful. So you just knew right from the beginning that this is what you wanted to do with your life. Is that right?
Oh, it's all I ever wanted to do. I grew up as a kid. Bob Baffert was still at the old track in Prescott Downs when I was just old enough to know who he was, about 4 or 5 years old. And I patterned how I dressed after him from that point on. He wore a cowboy hat back then. That's when he was a quarter horse trainer.
Yeah.
So I wore a cowboy hat. Like, I'll never forget, I had a straw cowboy hat with red rivets in it, because that's what Baffert wore. I mean, Baffert wore pink shirts, so I wore pink shirts. I was the only 6-year-old kid that wore pink shirts in the whole world, But it's all I ever wanted to be. My buddies wanted to be firemen, or their dads had businesses, and all I ever wanted to be was a racehorse trainer.
Oh, I love that. So you have had so much success, as I said. I mean, your record is unbelievable. I had so much fun researching you because I don't know much about the out west racing. So it was kind of fun doing a deep dive and seeing all of your accomplishments. I mean, what do you think has given you that edge to be so successful? Like, what qualities have brought you to this point?
I think that I learned young how to take care of a cheap horse, and because that's all we could afford. I mean, we might wait till the end of the meet at Prescott, and we buy horses that weren't good enough to go to Turf Paradise for $700 or $800, and we take them to our farm. We just had a little tiny racetrack that we loped on, and I mean, get them ready before we went to school, and then afterwards. I mean, we were just summer warriors, So I learned how to take care of a cheap horse like he was a good horse. I mean, so I think that's what taught me the most. And I was around really good people when I was young growing up. Owen McDaniel was a great quarter horse trainer, one of the best in Arizona Hall of Fame. And he did things in the 80s like they did now, So I learned early, take good care of, no matter what they're worth, treat them like they're a good horse, and they'll pay you back. And that's what's always given me that edge, is I can claim a horse and make him way better. That's always been my, kind of killer instinct, is I can watch a horse, see him, try to claim him, try to improve him, do the things I think he needs, and bring him back as a better horse. So I think that's what's always given us that edge over other people.
Oh, I love that. As a Beulah Park graduate, I completely know what you're talking about. If you can keep a cheap horse running well and keep them together, once you get a nice horse, you're like, wow, this is so easy.
It's easy to get a good horse. I help, like when we're at Sunland Park and those horses will come over for the Sunland Derby for Baffert. We always put them up and stuff. And I'm like, man, all they do these horses up is alcohol and mud. I mean, I'm thinking, got a $5,000 claiming race on the same day, and we're working on it 24/7, and they've just got them done up in some band. They're just good horses. They're going to run no matter what, So when you do get a good, sometimes it's push button. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So you are a very busy man. You're kind of here, there, and everywhere. What is your typical day like?
Typical day for me, I always was a real early guy, 4:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. It's never really bothered me, but now with kids, I kind of made a decision about a year ago. I said, man, I either need to be a little better dad or I need to be a really good racehorse trainer. And I try to balance both. So I've got really good help at the barn. So typical day for me now, my oldest son is 10, gets up at the same time as I do. He's got a routine. He showers, goes to the barn with me for a little while. I bring him back. Then he goes to school. We train all morning long till about 10 o'clock, and then I'm able to kind of free up, make phone calls. I've got owners to talk to. My wife's an agent out here also, so thank God for her. She takes care of most of my entry business. I get that done. We run 5 days a week, so you don't have much off time. So get home, you get a quick shower, some lunch, and you're back for the races. And usually a day for us is a slow day's 2 and a busy day's 10 or 12 in one day, So
wow.
It's work every.
Wow, you guys are soldiers. Okay, so you mentioned your wife being an agent. So what do you do when she spins you?
Oh, no, it's usually keeping on the couch. You know what I mean? Okay. The racing secretary, Robbie Junk, like off one will say, couch looks good tonight, huh? So it's tough. There's usually no dinner and cold couch. What happens?
So for anyone who doesn't know the racetrack jargon, when you get spun either by an agent or by the trainer, it means basically that there was an agreement between the agent and trainer. Yes, your jockey's going to ride this race. Okay, good. We're all set. And then at the last minute, you change. So you're like, actually, no, I'm going to ride this other guy. So
in a cold couch. What? It's a bad deal. Sometimes.
You're cutting out a little bit, Justin.
Yeah, you're cutting out just a little bit. Maybe try holding the phone up a little bit.
I said it's a bad deal when I put the leading rider, Harry Hernandez, on one. It's usually a cold dinner or no dinner and a cold couch, generally.
Yeah, I hear you. We got to love Harry, too, though. He's a friend of the show.
Oh, no, great rider. Good kid and a great rider.
Yeah, we've got a comment here from Grandma Horse Racing, kind of wanting to pick your brain on your expertise. Do you think it's easier for a horse to stretch out or to go from route to sprint? Is it easier to go to the route or to the sprint? What do you think?
Sprint horses, I've trained a lot of good sprint horses and they're easy to train. Some of them you just kind of wind them up like a top, jog them. You kind of train them almost like a quarter horse. You don't train them, you know what I mean? Jog them. Keep them healthy and fit. You want them to be able to kind of blow away from their fast but they've got to be fit enough to have punch. So I like sprint horses. A great angle for me. My favorite angle is taking a route horse that's been running a mile, running if a track has the 6.5 distance. I love it because they're full of run. They're not fast enough to make the lead. They sit right off the early pace, but they have a huge punch and they usually run those horses over in the stretch. So I love a route to sprint, but training wise, I love to train sprint horses. I love it.
Sure. And you're at a very quarter horse heavy area. So
fast track. We have a lot of fast tracks in the Southwest. They make them hard. They want to see those horses go down and get fast times. That's a big deal for them out here. So we love fast tracks and we get fast tracks. And I had one today, a horse I just claimed. He ran 114 and change for 6.5, so they throw up some big numbers out this way. They really do.
So when are you going to train some quarter horses too, Justin?
All I ever wanted to train when I was a kid, I didn't even like thoroughbreds, and then one day the switch just flipped and I thought, man, these quarter horses they're too much. There's no fun. You know what I mean? They get away bad from the gates. They get bumped. It's all over. Yeah. And you got horse trials. And if they don't make the futurity, they're no good. So I said, I better stick to thoroughbreds. These quarter horses are way too tough. I've trained a few and I'd pass every time. I'd rather work flipping burgers maybe than training quarter horses.
Well, I tried to give you 600 more career wins earlier today. I see that's 393 and not 993. I had your 7 wins away from 3,000, but you're 7 wins away from 2,400.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. closing in on 2,500 if anybody counts that as a milestone. But and then hopefully on to 3,000. And then my son asked me the other day, when do you think you'll catch Steve Asmussen? And I said, well, I guess 90, but I'm going to give it a shot, But no, Steve's a great guy. He does an awesome job. But yeah, we're really proud of what we've done, and we look forward to getting to that 3,000 milestone for sure.
You brought up your kids. Are any of your kids wanting to follow in your footsteps?
Well, my oldest son, when I bribe him enough, he acts like he wants to. He goes with me to the barn all the time, and it was a really kind of special moment. We went to Tucson to a little historic Rialito Park. It's just a little bush track for their opening day the other day, and run a horse. And he walked up on the offside of it. He's 10, walked up on the offside of it all the way up to the paddock and helped me in the paddock with it, and then let it out. They got a tunnel that goes out to the post parade. And it was like going to the Derby. I had the chills the whole way down that tunnel watching that horse. And I mean, as a dad, that was a proud dad moment. I thought the horse got beat and I never even cared. I'd have thrown a fit any other time, but I didn't even care. Watching him do that was so worth it. So my little girl loves horses, loves them, but likes to ride, likes to be around them. No, I don't think she'll ever want to train him, but I think I got two sons. I got to push one that way for sure. I got to be able to train one to train horses.
So you've been at Turf Paradise a lot now. Tell our viewers a little bit more about Turf Paradise, because it's more of a smaller track that some people don't really notice, but it's really on the up and up.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of lost its peak for a little while there. I mean, this place was a place where, I mean, they used to run the Phoenix Gold Cup, and I mean, you had, once again, I mean, Baffert would bring over horses. I mean, Lafitte Pincayde come to ride the race, Shoemaker. I mean, they ran major races here, and then Mr. Sims came in and bought the track and fixed up some things and did the grandstand and had a lot of interest in it. And then he got a lot of backlash, kind of the horseman and him kind of fought back and forth, and they were stale for a long time. And then when COVID hit, they closed down, and then they decided to run that next January when everybody was kind of on the fence. And man, it perked things up. They got some relief money from the state, and it perked up the purses. And now, I mean, we got John Wong over here for a long time. He didn't bring a barn this year, but for the last 2 years, he had Diodoro with the big string. I mean, it's Mike Chambers. I mean, there's some heavy heads over here. It's no just Sunday picnic. Sometimes I look at the program and I'm like, damn, this race came up awful tough, So there's some guys out here that can train and get it done. That's for sure.
So you mentioned about claiming the cheaper claimers. What goes into that? Like, what are you seeing in a horse, and what is one of the first, without giving up all your secrets so everybody can, but what's one of the first things you're doing to a horse? What are you adding, or do you know that when you're claiming it already?
I like to watch those horses. I can, I'm not good at sports. I'm a bad gambler. I don't know how to play golf cards, but I got the God-given, I can see a horse one time, and then 4 years later down the road, I could recognize him if you let him up to me, so I can see a horse in the morning. I just got that memory for some reason. But I can see a horse in the morning. So I'll watch those horses train in the morning and see him in the paddock one day and say, hey, I kind of like that horse. Maybe he's in for 8,500 a day. I'll wait for him to drop him a little bit, and then I'll be able to watch him train, catch him in the mornings. And then I'll go up there and kind of figure out where I'm going to run him back. And then we like to get a horse and immediately evaluate him. I mean, is he sound? Does he have any issues? Does he need to go to the farm? Does he need time off? What do we need to do? We put the horse first, but a general program for us, we worm them, we do their teeth, we get them on our feed program, on our training program. And then usually we try to lead up a bend. We're aggressive. I mean, I might claim one for 10 and running back for 5 and dare them to claim them from me. You know what I mean? And they don't know. Did he pull up bad and he's taking a shot at sending up a cheaper horse at you, or is he running a $10,000 horse for 5 to get him eligible for something? So you've always got to put that in those guys' mind. You know what I mean? You got to be aggressive. I beat him for years at the entry box. I've just always been aggressive.
You brought up jockeys earlier. So explain, when you first come in as a trainer, how hard it is to get the top-notch jockeys. Now I'm sure they're throwing themselves at you.
Oh, funny joke. A buddy of mine, Chris Hartman's brother. Chris has been very successful, and his brother Alex is a really good trainer. And he always says, man, I can remember at the old track in Prescott when you were a kid, if you'd run one and they'd light the board, you'd go down there and want to hug the jockey. Now they get beaten a photo and you want to go chew their ass out. He says, man, times, So yeah, no, we're really lucky to get, I'm able to get some good riders. I got Luis Negron has been my first call rider for a couple of years now, and he does a really good job for me. He's there at the barn in the mornings and works for me in the barn in the mornings. And so he knows a lot of the horses. He breezes a lot of the horses in the mornings. And so when I do have to, he got hurt the other day, so I brought Luis Contreras over he was riding 3 days a week for me from Santa Anita. And I got Harry Hernandez and Alex Cruz, really good riders. So knock on wood, I mean, I'm usually entering aggressively enough that those guys want to ride for me, so it makes it out good. And I've gotten better. I mean, I used to kind of pattern myself after Asmussen, and I used to like to go down there and just rib them guys on everything. And I kind of learned to back off them in my old age. Steve still does it, but when you win 10,000, you do whatever you want to do,
Are you big on giving the jockeys instructions before the races?
I like to tell them, like out here at these tracks, I always just try to tell them, I'm not big on instructions, but I like to tell them, hey, put this horse into it. You know what I mean? I like to tell them, hey, if this horse needs help off his feet, don't send him, but put him into it. You know what I mean? And I sometimes like to stress that to him because these, speed bias tracks, I've always been taught you can't spend the first part of this horse race going backwards on a speed bias track, so I like to make sure they know that. But most of the time I try to let them ride their race. And that way, if they get beat, I can blame them,
All right. I got a few. We've actually got a ton of comments coming in here. So let me just hit up a few of these quickly here. Grandma Horse Racing wants to know, do you ever get on your own horses?
I'm too fat now. I used to try when I was trying to get my wife, I tried to gallop and look really cool. And man, I wore starch shirts and starch pants and chaps, and I tried to look really cool. And then once I've got her, we've been married 11 years. I just gave up. I can't even sit anymore. I've give up the fight.
Oh my goodness. That is hilarious.
I ride the pony a lot. I enjoy riding the pony and stuff like that, but getting on my own, if I galloped, it'd be like putting a riding lawnmower on their back. They'd run really good when they got the dock on, that's for sure.
Now, while we're bringing on that subject, we did the Jockey Mental Health show about the weight thing. What are your thoughts on raising the weight even like 5 pounds? Do you think it really would make that big of a difference?
I don't. I've never been a fan. I never believed that, I mean, those good horses, I've watched Curlin and those horses run and carry 130 pounds, and they look like they've got feathers on their back when they run. You know what I mean? So I'd rather have a fat jockey that's healthy. I watch some of these guys at Turf Paradise starting to ride and reducing real hard, and my God, they just come back and they're so weak and they can barely walk, and they shouldn't put themselves through that, the stress and stuff. And I've watched so many jocks' careers end early. Rye Eichelberry was my main guy forever, and he retired this summer at the end of Canterbury. He just couldn't fight the weight anymore, and it was a shame. That was a guy that should have rode in the Kentucky Derby probably, and just couldn't fight the weight anymore. So I'm a fan for raising the weights. Absolutely.
We love to hear that. Oh,
was getting a call there. Sorry.
Oh,
put it on a level playing field and raise the weights. Absolutely.
Oh, we
I
love
was gonna say
to hear
somebody
that.
somebody didn't like
difference.
that. Somebody didn't like that he said that, and they blacked him out.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Nobody likes fat jockeys, huh?
And I got another question here from Sid Thompson. Great interview. My grandmother had a knack for just watching horses prior to a race and say, watch this one. They ran at Asinoba and Canterbury tracks, their horses. What's the one thing a novice can watch for on a horse in a pre-race walk? Is there anything you can point out during the post-parade?
I like to see a horse that's relaxed. You know what I mean? They can be on their toes, you know what I mean? But look for a horse that just gives that confidence, you know what I mean? It kind of just gives that model kind of, sway across there that says they're ready to do something that day. I don't like to see a horse climbing over the pony and the jocks trying to fight him and they're wrestling them, because it's no good. And they're nervous the whole way to the gates, and it just throws them off their game. So look for a horse that's calm, cool, collected. Those are horses that are usually going to run a good race.
I love that. I got another comment here from Willie Martinez, my personal favorite jockey. Good luck, Mr. Evans, as you are getting closer to your milestone, which makes me wonder. So when you hit a huge milestone, which you've already hit just astronomical milestones, to win 1,000 races as a trainer is just unbelievable. I don't know if people really grasp, because we see jockeys fairly frequently win 1,000 races, but these guys are usually riding 10 races a day. To own and to train and to be personally responsible for that many horses to be able to win 2,500 races is just crazy.
No, it's thinking back, now that you bring it up, I mean, just thinking back on the memories of it and stuff, it's been a road, man. And it's been hard at times, but it's been well worth it. I mean, every bit of food that's ever been put in my family's mouth and my mouth has been paid for by a racehorse. I mean, I owe my career, everything I've got, to a racehorse. I can promise you that.
That's awesome. Well, when you hit one of those milestones, how do you celebrate?
Oh, I always tell my kids, and they never know what I'm talking about. Walter Mathau and Casey Shadow, he says, I like to have my children at my elbow in the winner circle, So I always tell them that, and they say, what are you talking about, Dad? They just have an old man, you know what I mean? So, but, we have a barn party. We take care of the help. We make sure they're well taken care of because they celebrate with us, and they want to see me get to it. My guys were talking about it the other day about what we're going to do when we hit 2,500 and stuff, and it makes me feel good that they care enough to want to help me push my career because they're the secret to the success. They don't get enough credit, but thank God for them. And it'll be a party. I promise. It'll be a good time.
Awesome. So in light of your success, what is the best advice that you would have for someone who's young and just wanting to get started training horses?
Learn anything you can. You never stop learning in this game. Every day I learn something new, and try to put yourself in around. I've been, like I say, very blessed to be able to get in with guys like Bob Baffert and Steve Asmussen and pick their brain, and don't be afraid to ask questions. And then when you get horses, look at your horses every day. Well, look at them every day because they change every day. Watch their patterns, watch them in the stall, watch them when they lay down, watch them when they come out. Just see the difference in them and look at your horses every day. That's all I can preach to you is just watch them because I promise they'll tell you. Just look at your horses all the time.
Awesome.
How many horses do you currently have?
We got about 55. We flourish, anywhere from 60 to 50 all the time out here. Like last week, my wife was doing the books. We lost 10 horses last week through the claim box, So in one week you look up, we've got 60, and the next week you look up and there's 50. So the only thing that hurts is my payroll. You know what I mean? Because those guys, I got guys grooming 2 horses when they had 5 a couple days ago. You know what I mean? So but we claim them back. Next week, I got to call my guys in a minute. I forgot there's 2 coming in from California tonight. So, they come in all the time. It's just kind of a rotation. And that's why I preach as a claiming trainer with a lot of horses. Look at your horses. I've made a couple of mistakes. They pinged me in the paddock. I had 2 mixed up. Everybody laughs about it. And then they fined me $15,000 in New Mexico for horses that got tattooed backwards 7 years ago. It happens. I promise you. It happens. We don't do it on purpose. You know what I mean? It's an accident. Nobody's doing it to be malice. It's just one of those things, So you got to, horses flourish. They come and go. We got to watch them,
One of the claiming game, how hard is that you're saying hi to a horse and then 3 months later you're saying bye to a horse and you're bringing another horse in? No. And then explain a little bit more about the paddock thing on how that exactly can happen.
We'll get down to the paddock. Like in Turf Paradise is a great place to watch horses because they walk up in front of you. They got a long walk up in front of you. Then they go into that big kind of beautiful paddock, and they got to bring them out after they saddle them and stuff. So you can get a really good look at a horse, but we call them the rail birds. The rail will just be lined up someday. The other day I won a 19-way shake for one, it just, we've shook for horses. Every day, 6-way, 7-way shakes for these horses. And to people that don't know, a shake is, we'll all put claim envelopes in for the same horse. Say there's 7 of us. Then they'll line up 7 pills. They'll put it in a bottle, and the first one out, whatever rolls out, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, gets that horse, So we got to shake for a lot. And it is. You'll get a horse that you really like, but hey, to be competitive, I got to run him back for the same price. So you have him 2 weeks and he's gone, and it kind of sucks. And then you want to get him back, and sometimes you get him back and it's a mistake getting them back and stuff. So yeah, it's a tough. The claiming game is a tough game. It's a fun game, but it's a tough game.
Now you said about claiming them back. Well, what are the biggest things you notice different about the horse, or is that a lot on the horse as well, going from one barn to come back, all that kind of stuff?
It's a lot on the horse as well, is what they are when they come back. I had a horse, I passed him around 3 or 4 times, and I always said, I don't want to be the last owner on this horse. And the one time I was, and he was just never the same horse. You know what I mean? And sometimes they get bounced around from feed programs that they don't like. They lose weight, and you want to get them back healthy and stuff. And so it's just a pattern. Like I say, you got to kind of watch those horses and see how they're holding their weight after they claim them from you. If they're big and fat, maybe they're a little bit sore and they couldn't train them very much, So it's just kind of instincts you got to watch, and a few things you got to look for up at the paddock for sure.
Another big thing we talk about all the time here is getting young people in the game, making sure this game has a future, all that. What are some ideas, or what are some things you would like to see that we haven't done yet?
Well, I mean, the things we just got to get the message out there. I mean, that's what happened in New Mexico was they were so reliant on the casino when the COVID came in and they couldn't have the slot machines where you had to rely on fans. They didn't have no brand anymore, you know? So I love those places like Lone Star Park and Canterbury and Emerald Downs. And they, like, even here at Turf the other day, they had a fan appreciation day. I mean, T-shirts and free T-shirts, hot dogs. I mean, get these people out to the races because, man, if they bring one couple, that couple brings a couple, maybe that couple likes horse racing, and then it just hooks on, you know, and we're losing our older everyday bettors that go. They're getting up in age, you know, I mean, the guys that you see from the movies, the long shot and stuff that go every day to the racetrack, they're getting up there in age, so we've got to get our brand, and that's why I was telling Jamie earlier, like what she does on Twitter of getting pictures out of Tampa Bay Downs and the riders and the grooms and the stuff that happens in the morning. People love that. They get to see that and they think, man, that's beautiful. Maybe I'll go to the racetrack. And when they come and see the horses, it's the most beautiful thing you can ever be around as a racehorse.
Right. And that's the other thing too, is now I always say this, you know, football, we don't have any access to, I love football. Football's my number, but you don't have any access to the players. Like I can say hi and that's it. No access at all. You can go to Turf Paradise and talk to Justin Evans. You can go talk to all the jockeys, all that kind of stuff. And that's where, too, I know the gamblers and everybody wants the money, but there's got to be a way to capitalize on just getting people to the track.
You got to have fans. And my wife, every time we try to go to a restaurant or something, you make conversation or you're getting your hair cut and they say, oh, what do you do? Oh, I train racehorse. Oh, really? Some people don't even know there's a racetrack right down the street sometimes, you know? So you can tell them and, hey, come out. And I try to give them my number or a pass or anything I can. If I got some hats with me, anything you can to get those people. There was a waiter we ate at Outback Steakhouse the other day, and he said, man, I'd love to go to the track. Got my number, texted me, came out the other day, brought his buddy. They had a blast. I mean, they'll come back every weekend when they can now. You know what I mean? But it's just doing that, just getting the word out and telling everybody you can, because once they come to the track, yeah, you're right there. You know, I mean, it's not like you say football or basketball where you can holler at them and maybe they'll wave at you. You can walk up and talk to me. You can walk up and talk to the jock and get his autograph or his goggles, or you can see the horses right up close. It's great, you know. I mean, it gives me the chills talking about it sometimes. It just, if we could get more people out there, that's all we got to do is sell our brand and let them see. Horse racing's amazing sport.
Absolutely. Okay, got to catch up on a few more comments. Sorry, Sean, hate to jump in front of you here. From Terry, hey, he really likes you. Please come to Golden Gate Fields.
I might. You never know. I'm going to try to go to Emerald Downs this summer, it looks like, and so a lot of those people from Emerald go to Golden Gate, so you never know. I might end up there.
From Grandma Horse Racing, I can't wait to get to the track. Grandma Horse Racing, come to Tampa. I'll show you around. We'll have so much fun.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
from Sean Patrick Nolan, Justin, is there a different training strategy in the winter versus the hotter summer days? Good question.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we got to do a lot of things different. I mean, out here, even though we're in Phoenix, I'm looking at my deal in my car. It's 60 degrees right now, but we still blanket horses at night. I make my guys blanket till usually the 1st of April out here. And when I was in New Mexico, where we're in Sunland Park, El Paso, it'd get cold. We'd get a little bit of snow once in a while over there. And so, yeah, you know, I mean, we go through, that's another thing. I'll claim a horse and man, hairy, they put on a lot of hair in the wintertime. I'll body clip them, you know, we'll body clip them and get that hair off them. And sometimes it's like just making them a brand new horse. When you body clip them, they get all that hair off and man, they start to dapple underneath there, and you blanket them and you treat them like that. I mean, it's like picking up a dog off the street and giving them a bath and feeding them and taking them for a walk. They're a brand new person or a brand new animal. You know what I mean? So that's what we do in the wintertime. We try to focus on, I like to see their hair slick and shiny. I mean, my guys we brush 3 times a day. So, I mean, we try hard in the wintertime to blanket, and I train a little harder in the wintertime. It seems like, you know what I mean? It just seems like I got to get them a little fitter in the winter times, even though it's cold and we'd hate to be out early in the mornings. And sometimes it's hot water baths we got to give and stuff. It's what we got to do, but man, it puts them in the winter circle.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all put on a little extra weight in the winter. So
yeah, that's what I
work it off.
I blame mine on that. I mean, you're skinny, Jamie, but yeah, I blame mine on that. Sure. Wintertime.
All right. From Ryan Troy Tripp. You've been blessed to be around some great horses throughout your career, like American Birdie, Icy Tobin, Concord Fast. Can you reflect on some of these horses a little bit?
Oh my God, bringing up them, that was great. Yeah, Home Run Birdie, Icy Tobin. Yeah, Icy Tobin was a horse I claimed for 20,000 at Canterbury for Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, SEJ Stables. And a great story, quick story about him was we ran him 870 in the mean competitor stakes. It was a grade 3 race for quarter horses going 870, but they made it for thoroughbreds. No thoroughbreds ever ran in it. So there was a horse, God, I can't remember his name. He had won every 870 distance challenge all over the country. They'd taken him to Iowa, to Oklahoma, to Texas. He was unbeatable going 870. And so I put this Icy Tobin in this mean competitor stakes at Canterbury going 870. And Scott Stevens rode him for me. And he was dead last away from there. And I was sitting next to the owner and I thought, oh my God, that owner used to bet a lot. I thought, if I could jump off this balcony right now, I would, you know? And they turned for home and he looked like he jumped in at the quarter pole. He beat him by about 5 lengths. And the worst thing about it was they had these beautiful watches and buckles, but they were only if a quarter horse won. They didn't give them to us. It was,
you're kidding me.
No, they like slapped the lid shut when we went to the winter circle and took him away.
You were robbed.
It was great with that horse. He was amazing. I love that horse. We used to call him Toby. And he was kind of mean. I loved him. And Concord Fast, I always thought Concord Fast was my best shot to make it to the Kentucky Derby. I thought he was my best training job ever. We had an EHV1 breakout in Sunland Park, and we couldn't train. We were on like monitored training and stuff, and we had to train at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon away from other horses that weren't infected, and we couldn't run. And Rye Eichelberry, that horse he'd only sprinted, he'd never routed. And he was a 3-year-old, and Rye Eich, I cut him in his 3-year-old year. He was a stud. He was real studdy. And the owners, Teed Off Stables, were good guys. They let me gild him and come back, and they had to set up their whole Derby program different that year. So the first one was like the Mind That Bird Derby, and it was a mile race, and I ran him in that, and he went easy. And then the next one was the Sunland Derby, and so it was my second race off a layoff. He's going a mile and an eighth, and he run third. It was a great race. Collected ended up winning the race, and Collected, of course, went on to win the Pacific Classic and second in the Breeders' Cup and everything else, you know. And so I thought, and then he came back after that and he won the Riley Allison Derby, and he was really successful after that. He went on to, the owners didn't like the tracks in New Mexico, and they took him to Churchill, and the horse was great. He went through the claim box for 62,000, 50, 40 over there. He was a great horse, but I thought that was my best training job I've ever did. Thumbs up for that guy for bringing that up. That was great. Thank you.
Well, you had a win today, Justin, in Turf Paradise. You had 2 runners. You got a win. Is there any other horses coming up this week that everybody should circle that, you know, is going to see that winner circle?
Man, I got a filly in tomorrow that, God, I think she can't get beat. She run second and got beat a neck, and third and got beat a neck in a photo. Her name is the Ginger Queen tomorrow, and I think she's got to beat him tomorrow. I love her. I love the way she bounced out of her race. She's really doing good. I mean, she's a horse to watch tomorrow. I wish you'd had me on the show earlier because I loved that horse today, and he paid like $5. But thank God it was just the jock helped him. Luis Contreras rode him. He rode a great race, and he was another one. He was a horse I claimed I'd watch for a few races. I tried to claim him in Del Mar and couldn't get him, and ended up getting him out here for 8,500, and we run him back for 12.5 today, and he went easy. So there was a success story from the claim box today.
Awesome.
And the Ginger Queen is ridden by Harry Hernandez.
Hey, there you go.
So thank God my wife's out of the car right now.
I was about to say, warm up that couch.
Yeah, stop it. No, my credit card bill will be gigantic, I'm afraid.
Fair enough.
We're parked outside Jared's Jewelry. I'm in a bad spot. That's for sure.
Well, I guess she's celebrating that milestone a little bit early.
Yes. Oh, this is for 2,500, honey. This is for all those ones that got beat. That's for the 10,000 that got beat that I had to hear you complain about, she'll say.
There you go. We got a comment here from Terry. Hey, Justin's excitement is infectious. Indeed, it's so obvious that you love what you do, and we love to see that here at Horse Racing today. But I have a little more difficult question for you. What do you think is the hardest part of your job?
Oh, the hardest part is injuries on horses. You know, I mean, we try to do so much, and we're trying to be so careful, and people don't understand that. I mean, it just kills me to see people boycott outside the tracks, or they get on Twitter if a horse gets hurt, and I mean, Baffert killed another one. I mean, they don't understand. Even guys like Bob, man, that hurts them. I mean, we're around these horses and we give money for them, and the owners give money for them, and you don't understand the backlash that we take when one gets hurt. Those owners aren't happy when you got to pick up that phone and say, hey, man, this horse needs some time off, or this horse needs a new career. It's a tough deal, and just losing a horse. I mean, just having something happen to him, that is the hardest part, and that's where the safety precautions have gotten so good in this game. You know what I mean? And they're doing so much at racetracks and stuff, and my hat's off to that, because they've really stepped up their game, especially out here at Turf Paradise. I mean, and there's times you don't agree with the vet, but hey, they're the professionals, so I leave it up to them. If they say they don't think the horse looks good that day, they need to scratch him. You know, I mean, I kind of live and die by them, and thank God we don't get very many scratch, but thank God we have them there to watch. I mean, it's the safety of the horse is what we need, and that's what hurts me the worst. That's the worst part of my job. Job.
Explain the other part, because I'm sure it's, you get a bad test, they're going to put it down and people are going to look at that, but we don't get the story of what happened there. So explain how that happens, that, it could be a bad test, but there's no ill intentions, and it's just, No,
and it's picograms, and you know what I mean? It's
the testing is so sensitive. That's the problem.
So tied down. I mean, and people don't understand. We're giving these horses Robaxin that my doctor gave me the other day. You know what I mean? It's a muscle, just loosens them up. We're not giving them rocket juice or anything like that. Getting these bad tests for, and I mean, like Bob's on rash cream. He's trying to you think he wants to take a horse to the Kentucky Derby with girth itch on it? No, I mean, he was.
I know that.
I mean that girth itch the cream for that did not make Medina Spirit win the Kentucky Derby. I promise you. So, like, I got to bring up, just to kind of clear my name, that article on the Pollock Report where the steward that held a hearing for me the one time said, "Oh God, I just had no respect for the rules. I had 62 violations." But he don't. They're Prescott Downs $50 for a fine, $50 for putting blinkers on a horse in the paddock that they didn't catch at the racing office or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. 52 violations, but they're knick-knack stuff. I mean, why would I want to lose my livelihood? You know what I mean? What other job do you have where if something out of your control happens and a horse gets a bad test, or the vet, you get an overage or something, they come in and take your livelihood away? I mean, you don't, at Walmart, that doesn't happen. They don't come in and say, hey, today we're going to take you out of here because this happened. I mean, it doesn't happen that way. This is a whole new sport. People don't understand. It's how I feed my children. I don't want to do something to lose it.
Yeah. And I mean, the vast majority of those medication overages for all trainers overall, it's it's aspirin, people. It's Advil. Like, you give the horse a couple aspirin and boom, the horses metabolize things differently. You're giving them a perfectly legal, normal, within normal range dose of a mild anti-inflammatory to just, I mean, who doesn't take an aspirin or an Advil if they have a little muscle ache or a headache or whatever? It's so normal, and people literally just criminalize it. And I trained for a while. So let me tell you, I'm very are you kidding me? Like, I am huge OTTV person, love the horses. That's, that's my life too. I love these horses. I would never do anything to harm any of them. But come on, guys.
Bad rap because there is the handful that does stupid stuff. You know what I mean? But that's a backyard guy that's trying some silly stuff. I mean, that's not a public stable trainer. That's not a Lucas, Bob Baffert, Tom Amos, Justin Evans, Steve Asmussen, Dick Capalucci. It's not these kind of people. I mean, I promise you guys, we love our horses. I mean, last night we left the Super Bowl early to go make sure everything was blanketed, and we have these outside pins at the track, these Del Mar pins. That horses love them. They see out of them, and of course it's great for them. But they're just open pins with roofs on them. But when it's cold on them. We got them tarped and stuff, but we wanted to make sure they had double blankets on those horses. So we leave the Super Bowl at halftime to go make sure that's happening. I mean, we don't abuse these horses. We love them, and these little overages are, I mean, I got a bad rap. All of a sudden they changed testing in New Mexico, and I get 3 Dex tests just out of the blue, just all of a sudden. Now, I've never changed my program, but all of a sudden I get 3 Dex tests in a month, and they want to give me 30 days for it. I mean, I've been training over here for 10 years, done the same thing, and never had anything happen. I mean, come on, guys. The labs are a little tough. I mean, I think there should be more investigation to the labs than there should be anything, I think.
Well, and I don't know what it's like out west, but for me training in the Midwest, so it would happen where there would be no bad tests for quite some time. Everything is fine. And then all of a sudden on one day, the same day, 7 trainers have a bad test. Okay, really? Like all of the trainers got together and all of the trainers were like, hey, everyone, let's pick Wednesday to just go wild. There's something going on with the labs sometimes, but all those trainers still get the fine, get the days, get that on their record forever and ever and ever. And it's like, there's no recourse. There's nothing you can do. The lab said, that's it, you know?
And you can't get you're not guilty out there. You know what I mean? You're not guilty. I mean, everybody's crucifying Aspie for Ace Promazine. It's a relax. He's giving it. Steve gives it to every horse to train. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
right.
And horses metabolize it different. I mean, we don't know. They can't talk to us, and we don't know how. I mean, if I take an aspirin, is it going to clear my system tomorrow afternoon at noon? I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. But I mean, we play by the rules. We go by the standards that they give us. You know what I mean? We have a 24-hour out rule. We stop on that. I mean, I make sure my vets, we give youths 30 hours out. You know what I mean?
Right.
We do everything by the book. So when something like that happens, we never get to tell our story, and it hurts you. I mean, it hurts you to see those comments on there. This guy. I mean, you think kids are going to read that one day? It's so good, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is kind of a fun question here from Grandma Horse Racing. Do trainers feel stressed like jockeys? Do you ever get like nervous before a big race, or?
If anybody ever tells you they're not nervous, I promise they're lying to you. For me, anyway, if they're running for 2,500, 250,000, my foot's still tapping when they're walking to the starting gate.
That's great. That just shows your passion for the game.
And if you're not hollering and rooting for one, if you just sit still, part of you's dying. I promise you. I mean, 12-5 today, and you'd have thought it was for 125,000. We were just as happy, you know. And watch that's what makes it all worth it. When one of mine wins and those kids of mine take off running for the win, it's the greatest feeling in the world. It's like you won the Super Bowl.
Do you go to the track every day you have a horse running?
Every day, yeah. You know, I mean, I try not to miss if I'm sick or we're at a horse sale or something like that. But I out there pretty much every day. Yeah, yes, sir.
So, and you probably don't have much time, like I tell everybody. But if you're not at the track, if it's not family, what else do you do for fun?
Oh, I spend time with my family. I mean, like I say, I don't golf. I'll take the kids. We'll try to go on a trip somewhere. I mean, Disneyland it. We've done all that stuff. We never get very much time. It's 2 or 3 days. I mean, but most of the time, forever. When we just had one child, we could leave him with my in-laws and stuff like that. But now we have him plus twins, so you can't pawn 3 of them off on in-laws for very long. So if we go someplace, it's a horse sale for a day or two, or I mean, they're with us. So I don't have hobbies really. I'll tell you what I've gotten into. Me and my son get sports memorabilia. I'm an addict now of buying sports memorabilia, footballs, baseballs, basketballs, and I got no idea what they're worth. I just buy them. My wife will kill me because I might $700 for Charles Barkley basketball that's worth $300. I don't know. I mean, that's my vibe right now.
So if anybody has sports memorabilia and they want to get rid of it, Justin's your guy.
Target. I'm an easy target. I promise you.
Don't let your wife watch this episode.
No, she hasn't seen it. Well, she saw the one day. She watches stuff close. And when me and my come home, she's like, $1,200 at this sports card store. But look, this is a Jim McMahon signed helmet. I don't care what signed helmet told me, So yeah, once in a while I get it, but we try to make it up. We'll win a couple the next day and she'll get over it,
Okay, there you go.
So my last question, and then we'll let you go because we're almost 45 minutes in here, is you said about you were out west, now you're at Turf Paradise, might go to Emerald Downs. Do you ever run 2 strings at different tracks, or have you ever done that, or you just stick to one?
Yeah. I don't like to be split up. I've always felt my horses never run good where I'm not the place I'm not at. You can tell your bark the chart. I never feel they run as good if I'm not there. I mean, it's just my deal. So I hate to be away from them, but we've split up lots of times. Mexico, we've sent some to Reynosa, and we get Albuquerque or something and Big Creek. But This year we're just going to try to, our plan is to go to Emerald for the summer, and we'll take probably 35 to 40, you know what I mean? Maybe turn out the rest, or some need a vacation. Or I got a good friend in New Mexico that I share a lot of horses with, Dick Capalucci, a great trainer. I send a lot of horses his way, and he can go to Lone Star for the summer. So I might send some grass horses that way. It works out well. I got a lot of good friends that I work with that horse needs to go someplace. John Wong, I can send it off to him somewhere. It really works out well. Some of us trainers, we all compete, but we stay pretty good friends, and we can put our horses in different avenues where the best place for the horse to go is what we try to do.
Awesome. All right. You got anything else, Sean?
No, that's it. I appreciate Justin coming on. Appreciate you.
Yeah. What a great interview. I mean, I've had so much fun tonight. We really appreciate you coming on here. It's been wonderful getting to know you a little bit and seeing some of your story. Like, thanks for all the great work you do out west there. I'm going to have to keep a closer eye on racing out there now.
Watch us out this way, Jamie. Now you got a track to watch, please, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
You need to bring Willie out here to ride some one week. Take a vacation.
Oh, yes. We will do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Awesome. Great. Well, you have a wonderful night. And we'll have to have you back on after Win 3000.
Please. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it's soon.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Justin.
Oh, man, he was great. What a fun interview, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I knew the stats. I've seen him. I didn't know, I don't always know. You don't always know their personality, but yeah, He was really fun.
Yeah, I could have literally talked to him all night. So knowledgeable. I didn't even get a chance to bring up. So I'll just say to you guys, if you don't follow him on Twitter, you should, because his expertise is just on point, and he's so patient. Like with these people who kind of have like these trolling personalities and who want to be like, racing is terrible and it's full of cheaters and rah, rah, rah. He will get on there and explain so patiently, like exactly what's going on. Like, no, this is what happened. Take a look here. Look at this rule or regulation. This is why this was done. And he comes with all of these facts, just like, boom, here it is, by the book. Let me explain it to you. Like, and he's so patient. Like I said, like me, I tend to be like, shut up. No, go away. And he's just let me educate you.
And that's the thing too. He was open and willing to talk about the paddock thing that happened.
Right.
And also about the test, because I know we'll get messages. Oh, do you see this test rep?
Right.
We're not here to play judge and juror on that stuff. With all the little tests and stuff, like he was saying, it's, I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah.
There's nothing. They're so tight. You've experienced it.
Yes,
so,
I have. I've seen it from inside the business myself. I'm just saying, does it make sense to you, anyone watching, who's like, well, what about this, and this, and this? There are definitely people out there who need to be cracked down on. Anytime that a horse has an illegal substance, 100% I agree with you. But when we're talking about like the smallest amount ever that absolutely does not affect performance, and we know for a fact because it's testified to by multiple experts, like, for example, the thing with the buffer. I mean, come on. That was freaking girth itch. You don't want to bring a horse over with a big nasty sore on them, like looking all scraggly. You want them to look nice and shiny. So you put on a little ointment. It doesn't make them run faster. It doesn't affect their performance. You're just trying to make them look cute for the Derby. Like, you know what I mean? And then does it make sense to you that no one has bad tests for like months? Everything's going well. Everyone knows what they're doing. And then all of a sudden, every single trainer that wins on one particular day comes back with a bad test. Come on. There's something going on with the lab. That doesn't make any sense. But we, as the horsemen, we don't really get a chance to, fight it out or whatnot. We just don't really have that opportunity. And, sometimes you got to take the bad with the good. Stuff happens, whatever. But for people to shove all of these crazy things down our throats and be like, well, obviously people are cheating and doing this and that to the horses. No, you don't know the story. Your ignorance. Don't let it blind you. You know what I mean? Like, you need to actually look at it objectively and use your logic and put two and two together and come to a more even decision. Don't be so passionate, like, just saying.
Yeah,
sorry,
exactly.
I'm off my soapbox now. I apologize.
But Justin was a great interview. I appreciate him coming on.
Yes.
He had supported us before, and I was like, hey, you want to come on? He came on, and great show.
Yeah, he's great. I can't wait to have him back on again. He was awesome. Like I said, I could talk to him all night. If you don't mind, I need to do just a couple quick shout outs. We've got to say, Vernon Bush, Hey.
Absolutely.
Pure Courage
Congrats.
Award. He's so
Yes.
awesome. He's here at Tampa right now. I go out there all the time and I just see him doing his thing, doing what he loves, always has a kind word and a smiling face for everyone. He's overcome so much. No one deserves it more than you, Vernon. We could not be happier for you. Congratulations. Also have to give a shout out to Grandma Horse Racing, which here she actually just paid a comment here. Thanks, guys. Love what you do. But she put together literally the coolest video I've ever seen, helping us out here at Horse Racing today, like where she had an animation and then like brought it to life with videos of us. And I mean, I just loved it. I was showing it to everyone. I was at work when it came out because I had to work the whole Super Bowl. And I was like, oh my gosh, guys, look at this. And they're like, whoa, are you like famous now? I'm like, I feel like it.
See, I loved it too in every part, but then I came up and I'm like, why am I like I don't like how myself was on there. I was like, everybody else was great. I was like, oh man.
You looked great. Everyone's their own worst critic, but we absolutely loved it. Grandma Horse Racing. So very cool. Thank you so much. We also have to say congratulations, Marcelino Pedrosa Jr. back in the saddle after that injury. He got injured right after our interview, and now he's back. Can't wait to see you this weekend at New Orleans. And I also want to give a shout out to trainer Mike Baird in West Virginia because he just hit a big milestone, his 1,000th career win as a trainer. It's absolutely huge. He is a great horseman, does awesome stuff there. He's also involved in breeding and everything. Super nice guy. Very well deserved. Congratulations. And we wish you all the success. I tried to get him on the show and he's like, not my thing, too shy, but keep doing what you're doing. Nice and quietly in the shadows there. We're still cheering you on here at Horse Racing today. So congrats.
Yeah, and while we're on the milestones, Pablo Morales is 1 win away from 2,500.
Yes.
So I'm sure Tampa starts back up, Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, Wednesday. Yeah.
Wednesday. So I'm sure he'll get it probably Wednesday. So
probably,
we'll have to
knowing him.
keep our eyes out on that. And then Steve Asmussen, obviously, he'll start running again Wednesday. Tracks all over the place. I think he's at Delta Wednesday, but I think he's 3 wins away from 10,000 wins, which,
not a big
will be
deal.
the first to hit that milestone in U.S., Puerto Rico. I know there's another one. I've been corrected that he doesn't have the most wins all over the world, but
details. He's awesome. Good for you, Steve. Yeah. Good for the entire Asmussen team. Love all of them. So happy to hear it. All right. Absolutely. Well, what have we got going on, Sean?
So tomorrow night we have Jessica Paquette on.
Yes, I'm so excited.
The only female announcer at Parks. Only female announcer doing it right now, and she's at Parks. Yes. So we'll have her on. And then Wednesday we have former jockey and now jockey instructor at the Puerto Rico school that we always talk about, Willie Lozano Jr.
Yes, I'm super excited for both of those. I can't wait. They're both going to be so interesting. And this week is kind of different because we normally have a lot of jockeys. We've got no jockeys. We got trainer, announcer, and jockey school instructors. So,
he's a former jockey.
Yeah. But still, right now, I'm very more curious about his career as he was a steward. So that's very interesting. We haven't had any stewards on, right?
About that.
And then also riding instructor. I mean, how many people do we see from that Puerto Rico school who just absolutely kill it? And so many of them, when you read interviews with them, they credit that school and they credit Willie Lozano specifically as a key part of their success. So I am super excited to get to pick his brain a little bit. So
yeah, absolutely. And I'm partial, obviously, but every show, I mean, there's even shows sometimes, I might be like, yeah, we're going to do it tonight, but I'm not excited about it. And then you have a great guest. Then you turn out it's a great guest anyway. I'm telling you, every show has been absolutely great. Like the people in horse racing are, they're not the bad people everybody makes them out to be. They're actually complete opposite. You have bad people in everything, but they're the complete opposite of what they're made out to be, because when you finally get to know them, you realize what kind of person they are.
Oh, yeah. I really hope that a lot of people tune in and see this tonight, because Justin's passion and his expertise speaks for itself. Like, I just thoroughly enjoyed this. And like I said, I don't watch Out West Racing at all, basically. Like every once in a while I'll cheer on Harry for something big just because I know him from Tampa. But I mean, wow, great guy. Cannot wait to see him succeed more and more, as I know he will. And, just smart guy, really shines through.
Absolutely. Tomorrow, Rich and Terry will be back, Parks Day number 2 at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. So make sure you have that. And then Grandma Horse Racing. Us shy people work from the shadows. And then, what else was I going to say? I don't know what else was I. Oh, college basketball, Picks with the Professor, pickswiththeprofessor.com, at Professor Sides on Twitter, and he's got a YouTube as well. He'll go over all the picks for college basketball if you're betting on that too, which March Madness is coming up in a month. So if you want to pick your bracket, you better start watching it now and see what teams you might want to pick.
That's basketball, right?
Yes, that's basketball.
I'm getting better and better at this.
Right.
All right.
Well, while we bring up March Madness, we're going to do something cool too with the tournament. I didn't announce this yet, and we'll announce it where we'll have a little bracket and we'll have people compete against each other. We'll pick the race, they'll pick the horse.
Oh, I love that.
$2 win, place, show. If you have the same horse, you're going to pick an alternate too. If you pick the same horse and the alternate, then we're going to go to a coin toss because there's only so much you can do. But we'll work our way. It's going to be fun because it's going to be like the bracket, college basketball. So it should be fun. So I'll announce that coming up soon.
Very cool. Working on some new stuff over there. I'm here for it, Sean. Nice work. All right. Well, everyone, Grandma Horse Racing already knows what I'm going to say. Hit that thumbs up. Give us a like. Give us a follow. We're on all kinds of social media these days. Pretty much everything, right? TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the good stuff. So make sure you're following us there. Make sure that you're tuning in to Horse Center for the rest of the week. Make sure you're tuning in to find our picks so you can make a little money off of all of this fun stuff that we do here. But no matter what, we know that we will see you in the
winner circle.
Winner circle.